Welcome into another edition of the Old North State Sports Show, folks. Thank you guys for tuning in and subscribing. As always, got a lot of good content coming out. Free agency is right around the corner. Unfortunately for me, I'm going to be traveling, so I'm trying to get a lot of content out as soon as possible so that you guys are up to speed and have some content to carry you over as I travel. Do my best to get you guys stuff in between then, but let's go ahead and jump in. Number one, as I give you that notice, please call into the show, 910-679-6927. Leave a message. I still have not updated the voicemail, but I promise I get it. I'll put it on the show. Now's your chance because I'm going to be out. It's going to be difficult for me to put all this stuff together. So if you have questions, drop them in the voicemail. That's all you got to do. Well, folks, it's the offseason, which means it's time for trade rumors, free agency, franchise tags. T. Higgins, officially not a part of the news I'm covering, gets the franchise tag with the Cincinnati Bengals. No, that doesn't mean that he's not going to be traded. We know this happened with Brian Burns in that entire situation. We know their focus is on Chase, but does add a wrinkle to this, and I don't know that I'm going to hold my breath. We're going to be doing another video highlighting some realistic options for the Panthers, and it's not going to get you jumping up and down, if we're being honest. We're at least going to give you guys my opinion on who I think the Panthers should consider. But now we got this rumor floating around. It's not a rumor. It's the news. Former Notre Dame All-American tight end Michael Mayer of the Las Vegas Raiders is on the trade block. And now there's a lot of folks on X, formerly Twitter, that are talking about this. This thing's gained steam. I posted and I said, I don't know what kind of Kool-Aid you guys are drinking and who leads this charge. It's wild, man. It's a wild place on X. People latch onto an idea, then every other person does, and this thing takes off. And I'm like, do y'all just sit down and think about what you are proposing? Did you look at his stat line? I just question it. I'm not saying he can't be a good tight end, and the tight end market itself is limited, but I don't know what we think we are getting. His stat line from this past year is worse than Tommy Trimble's. Heck, probably could go toe-to-toe with Ian Thomas. Not really, but I do kid a little bit. He did miss time for personal reasons, so that's part of the reason his stat line wasn't as good. But if we're being honest, when we're talking about this room, the tight end room, the wide receiver room, I don't know specifically if we should be putting all our marbles in on Michael Mayer. Like, if we're going to talk about a player for the Raiders, why not Jakobi Meyers? I look at Jakobi Meyers as a much better conversation piece, a much better weapon. No, he's technically not out there. Would love to see him put out there for the Carolina Panthers to be able to bring someone like that in. Absolutely. That makes way more sense to me than all of these conversations around Michael Mayer. Now, we have to acknowledge, though, that Panthers need a tight end. They need multiple tight ends. Tommy Trimble's testing the market. Ian Thomas probably not coming back, although you never know. Vet minimum. I mean, I would. You've seen wilder things happen, so that's always a possibility and something that can happen. But I do agree. Let's get some fresh blood in there. Let's get this thing started over. If you can get Michael Mayer for Mayer, see, I'm throwing Mayers and Myers all around. If you can get Michael Mayer for a 6th-round pick, 5th-round pick, maybe even a 7th, I will take it. I would absolutely take it. Sign me up for it. I just don't want people to set expectations that we're getting this tight end one that's going to come in and go for 500, 600 yards or take us to the next level. I don't think that's reasonable. He did have a really good 2023 campaign, or decent, I should say, better than most Panthers tight ends as of late, except for Jadavian Sanders. Had 27 receptions, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. We know this past year he missed a lot of time. They also drafted Bowers, so that put him at the bottom of the pecking order when it comes to tight ends, or at least his spread of catches. He only had 14 catches, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I put Jakobi Meyers on here because, yes, that's the guy I want to target. 807 yards, 8 touchdowns in 23, eclipsed 1,000 yards with 87 receptions and 4 touchdowns in 2024. So again, we need a number one wide receiver. It's going to continue to be a discussion topic. I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think. As I always do, please drop a comment with your thoughts. Now, as we talk about the wide receiver position, let's talk about someone opposite, and that would be the cornerback position and the rumors that are circulating around the potential for Jaycee Horn to get an extension. I think it's going to happen. I think the Panthers would be smart to go ahead and get an extension now. I say that because whatever happens, the market's going to continue to reset. I think he's earned it, with the caveat that, he's missed a lot of time, but at least this past year he proved it. He's a pivotal piece to this defense. So for me, it's like, yeah, let's go ahead, give him the extension that he deserves, make it a reasonable contract for the Panthers so you don't have to pay further. Now, there's a lot of moving parts that are happening in the market, but what I wanted to do was look at, like, what could a projected cap hit look like? What would this contract look like for Jaycee Horn? So let's go ahead and bring it up here. Now, we go back and look at some recent contracts. Patrick Surtain, of course, really setting the bar, $96 million, $77 guaranteed. He appeared in 49 games over the last 3 seasons, or over his 3 seasons. Jair Alexander, 4 for $84. These are some of the bigger contracts that we've seen. 56.5 guaranteed. L'Jarius Sneed, 4 years, 76.4, $55 million guaranteed. So Jaycee Horn, again, with the numbers kind of sitting where they are, you would guess he might be in the $76 to $85 million range. Maybe you take 10 mil off that, 66 to 75. And as far as guarantee, maybe it's closer 40 to 50. And that would maybe be 15 to 18 mil average annual value. Possibly. I mean, it just depends. He's missed a lot of time. We know that. That's probably the biggest knock that Jaycee Horn has on himself right now. So, anyways, that's the projections that we can think about. Where will this land? TBD. A lot to be discussed, but it sounds like the motion is happening. And we saw last year with Derek Brown getting Dan Morgan involved. He got it done quickly. I think, of course, Brent Tillis also involved. I think this thing could happen sooner rather than later. What do you guys think about an extension for Jaycee Horn? Well, folks, that is going to do it for today's episode. This is Carolina Dad. Appreciate y'all tuning in.